So hey guys, and welcome to another video of the Random Watch Dude. And this is actually a follow-up video to a video that I made just a couple of days ago. If you look back through the archive, you'll see that I made a video. I was out on the water actually. I went out for a paddle on my kayak and I recorded a couple of shorts, and I followed that up with a video where I stopped at the marina and I just kind of had a bit of a ramble really about, you know, if you were to reduce your collection down to one watch for whatever reason, for a multitude of reasons, and this is just hypothetical, guys. This is just having some fun as a bit of a watch enthusiast and a bit of a ramble really, just about, you know, what ifs in the watch world, and I think we've all probably considered this at some point too, is if I had to reduce my collection down to one watch, knowing what I know now, what would that watch be? And also there's an aspect of anxiety, I think, that comes into every watch collector's mind at some point, particularly when you're looking at how many watches you've got in your collection, and actually whether you're actually getting the opportunity to wear all of those lovely watches enough. So, for example, you might spend 5 or 10 grand on a luxury watch and really enjoy that watch, but are you wearing it enough, and does it bother you? Do you get anxious, and do you develop a sense of guilt, I suppose, that you're not actually getting to wear all of your watches as much as you'd like to? Now, speaking from personal experience, yes, I do. I do quite often find, particularly when I look at some of the watches in my watch box that I may not have worn for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks sometimes, I do get a sense of guilt as to why haven't I worn this watch more? Why don't I wear this watch all the time? And it does inevitably lead to a conversation in your mind about, you know, should I just reduce my collection and only have 1 or 2 or 3 watches? So that's where this kind of, you know, thought process is coming from, guys. And before I jump into it, just a quick wristwatch shot. Here's my Rolex GMT Master 2. This is obviously the left-handed Sprite. Commonly known as the Sprite. I prefer to call it the Riddler, but I think everybody's decided it's called the Sprite. But I also would like to confirm that Rolex have called it the VTNR, so I'll go with that too. Anyway, guys, with that aside, and by the way, there's no way I could ever have this watch as a one watch solution, by the way, as an exit watch. And you know, this is absolutely a collection piece. It's not a watch I can wear anywhere and do anything. And I'll come to the reasons why for that as well, because as I said in my previous video, I have actually come to a kind of, not a decision, but a conclusion as to the top 3 watches that I would consider that I either have in my collection now, or I would revert to if I had to go down to one watch. I've come up with 3, guys, but before I go on to what those 3 are, and I'll talk about those a little bit later, I wanted to talk about some of the conditions that I had for what constitutes a one watch solution watch. And I've got 6 conditions here. The first one is it has to be robust. So if it's a watch that I'm going to wear anywhere and do anything, and it's got to basically take anything that life throws at it, it has to be robust. And also, of course, if it's going to be robust, it has to have really good water resistance, because when I go on holiday and I jump in the pool, or, you know, when I go for a run, or in my case, when I go out on the kayak for a paddle, I need to know that I can get this watch wet, and it's not going to need to go in for a service because the crown leaked or something like that. So really good solid robustness is critical. Number 2, it has to have a good bracelet, and I think you know, to some degree, I know a lot of people say, well, look, it's all about the case, it's all about the movement. Yeah, it is, because that's ultimately what you're paying for. But let's not discount the fact that this is a one watch solution, so it's got to have a really good strong bracelet. That's really critical for me. Number 3, it has to have a timing bezel. Now that obviously, you know, to a great degree, instantly you're thinking, well, if it's got to have a timing bezel, then that rules out an awful lot of watches, of really good watches. Well, yes, it does, but the timing bezel's critical. Again, guys, we're talking about a go anywhere, do anything watch, and for me, and if you've seen the video that I made recently about, you know, 10 good uses for a dive watch, and 6 of the really good ones were around the bezel and use of a bezel. There are some really practical reasons why I would need to have a diving bezel on my watch. Number 4 is date wheel. And again, that rules out a lot of common choices for a go anywhere, do anything watch. This watch that I go for has to have a date wheel because, guys, I'm trying to keep an eye on the date constantly, not just at work but at home as well. I'm constantly referring to dates. Just in any life, you know, when you're trying to keep yourself organized, you're constantly referring to dates, aren't you? So I have to have a date wheel. I can't have a time only watch. It has to be versatile, and what I mean by versatile, it has to sort of cross that boundary between formal and informal. So a dress watch is not going to work for me. It's going to work for me very well in the work environment, but it's not going to work for me as a weekender and a sports watch and a holiday watch. So it has to have that kind of sporty versatility to it, which rules out basically dress watches, doesn't it? And the last thing, guys, is, you know, I was thinking about price point here, and, you know, am I just going to look at all the Rolexes or all the, I don't know, all the Tudors and say it's got to be one of those because they're a higher end watch? And then I thought, well, no, not necessarily. You know, there's no reason why there aren't some great $500 watches out there that you know will last 25, 30 years and make a great go anywhere, do anything watch. Absolutely, they would. So. And here's the thing, so my last consideration is the price point of the watch, and what I've decided is that if I were to go for a go anywhere, do anything, it would have to be in the mid to high price point, guys. And the reason it would have to be in the mid to high price point is because I know that if it's in the mid to high price point, in other words, you know, a sort of a fairly decent luxury watch, I know I'm not going to get bored. And that's the critical thing. If you go to one watch, you've got to be careful that you don't get bored. And I just know from experience that I get bored very quickly with $500 watches because they kind of lose that emotional I don't know, that emotional attachment gets lost pretty quickly, and I find that a higher quality watch that's got a really nice bracelet and a really nice bezel action, for example, and has good accuracy, that's a watch that I'm not going to get bored with. So it has to be a mid to high price point because I don't want to get fed up with it quickly and want to upgrade. So on that premise, guys, they're my 6 conditions that I have to have for a go anywhere, do anything watch. I want to talk very briefly about some non-contenders. Non-contenders are watches with no date wheel. So instantly, guys, yeah, you've probably got to this point already. It rules out a couple of classic Rolexes. It rules out the Explorer 36 and 40, and it rules out the classic Submariner. They're fantastic watches, guys, there's absolutely no question of that, but they're not go anywhere, do anything watches for me because they don't have the versatility and the tooliness that I need. They don't have a bezel in the case of the Explorer, and in the case of the Submariner it doesn't have a date. It also rules out bigger watches like the Sea Dweller, for example, is just a little bit too large for me. GMT Master 2, for example, that's ruled out because although it's got a bezel, it's a GMT functionality, and I don't really need that in a go anywhere, do anything watch. I want that 0 to 60 minute timer, by the way. If you can see rain in the background, it is drizzling slightly here, but it's that kind of rain where it's not quite wet enough to get you wet, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to carry on. That's why I've got my sun hat on too. I'm going to carry on and give you the 3 contenders, guys, the 3 big contenders for my go anywhere, do anything watch. Contender number 1 is the Seamaster, the Omega Seamaster 300. So as much as I've just released a video about the Omega Seamaster 300 telling you that I think it's about time Omega updated that watch, and they need to do it really quickly and they need to do it this year, that is still currently a fantastic option, guys, for a go anywhere, do anything watch. Watch number 2 is a Tudor, and I've gone for the Tudor Pelagos, and I'm not talking about the FXD here, and I'm not talking about the Pelagos 39, I'm talking about the original Pelagos 41. That's with a titanium bracelet. I've actually owned one of those. I own the blue one. I owned that watch for about a year or so, and absolutely fantastic watch. And I know from experience, having owned the Seamaster 300 as well, they are 2 excellent considerations for a go anywhere, do anything watch. So there you go. I've got number 1, the Seamaster 300. Number 2, the Tudor Pelagos, and number 3 is the Submariner Date. So they're my 3 watches that I would consider if I were going down to a go anywhere, do anything watch. They're the three that I'd go for. The Omega Seamaster 300, the Tudor Pelagos, the original Pelagos, the 41, and a Rolex Submariner date. Now, all three of those watches have covered all of the 6 essential non-negotiable terms, I guess, that I need for a go anywhere, do anything watch. And then I guess the big question is, guys, you know, which one would I go for? And I've thought about this over a few days, actually. Which one of those 3 would I go for if I had to go and do it tomorrow? And the answer is, it changes by the day. And like I say, I've been thinking about this considerably. And every day I might wake up one day and think, yep, I think I'd go for a Seamaster 300. I think that would be the one. And then, yep, the next day I wake up and I think, do you know what, the Pelagos, that's got a fantastic bracelet, the Pelagos. No, I think the Pelagos. I think I'd go for a black Pelagos. And then I wake up the next morning and I think, how can you have a go anywhere, do anything watch, the watch that you're going to take with you to your grave, and it not be a Rolex? You know, wouldn't you have regrets? Oh yeah, I've got to have got to be a Rolex, got to be a Rolex Submariner date. So guys, I keep cycling through this with these 3 watches. I haven't really landed on a solution to that question, which one of those 3. So what I'm going to do, guys, after I've put this video out, I'm actually going to put out a poll. And I'm going to put the question to you guys, and we'll actually see what the vote is. And I know that you guys have got your own choices, your own options, your own preferences, and you're probably sat there thinking, oh, but Mark, you've forgotten about the, I don't know, the Breitling Super Ocean, or you've how can you say that your watch has to have a date wheel? Well, look, guys, this is just my kind of set of non-negotiables for a go anywhere, do anything watch. And so I'd like to know what you guys think. Which out of those 3 watches do you think you would go for? So I'll put a poll out. And just finally, guys, just a little cliche, I guess, to finish this off, because it is a question that I think all watch owners and watch collectors have asked is, you know, what would be my end goal watch, and how do I get out of this cycle of just collecting watches? And the answer is you never leave the cycle, and to come up with a slightly more cliched way of putting that, it's all about the journey with watches. It's all about the journey, not the destination. So a go anywhere, do anything watch is a destination, and I don't ever really want to get to that point where I've arrived at that destination. I'm enjoying the journey, and to be honest with you guys, I think I'll just stay on this journey for as long as I can. That's the answer to it. This whole subject is just a bit of fun. You know, what's the best watch out there? And I honestly don't think I'll ever get to that point in my watch collecting hobby where I want to do that, because I'm just enjoying this journey so much. So there you go, guys. I'll just leave that thought with you, and please do leave your thoughts in the comments section of this. I've got a few more videos lined up that I'm going to put out over the next few days. The next one that I'm going to talk about is actually the Rolex Daytona. So I've never owned a Daytona. I don't think I ever will own a Daytona, but I've got some views on the Daytona that I wanted to share on my next video, so I'll be putting that out soon, not long after this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do subscribe, like, and as I said, please do leave comments. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.